There's something many people don't realize until they're already in their 60s. It's not the size of your portfolio. It's not your investment mix. It's not even the age you plan to retire. It's the timing of your decisions in the 5 years surrounding age 65. Because of this window, roughly from about 62 to 67 for most of us, quietly determines your taxes, your Medicare cost, your Social Security benefits, and even how long your savings may last. It's a period where every decision connects to another decision, and one small change can shift your entire retirement picture. You may have spent 30 to 40 years saving and preparing, but the truth is, the final 5 years shape how confident and flexible your next 25 to 30 will be. And that's why this window is so important to get right. Hi, I'm Alan McBroom, President and owner of McBroom Financial Services. If you find this helpful, feel free to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more retirement guidance. If you're approaching retirement and want to make sure your plan supports your goals, you can book time with me using the link below. Today we're going to walk through what makes that 5 years surrounding age 65 such a defining phase, and how to use that time to build a clear, tax-aware plan that supports your income, your healthcare needs, and your long-term goals with confidence. So let's look at why this 5-year window matters more than most people expect. You see, for decades, retirement may have felt like something in the far distant. But as you enter your early to mid-60s, the decisions start accelerating. Consider these things: when to take Social Security, how to handle healthcare before and after Medicare starts, how much income to draw and from which accounts. What about how to manage taxes before they start increasing in retirement? These are not isolated choices. They stack together, and the way you make one decision often affects the next, and often affects the next 5 in a row. That's why this window, roughly ages 62 through 67, becomes one of the most strategic planning periods of your entire retirement timeline. The more clarity you have going in, the more control you maintain over taxes, income, and long-term security. Social Security seems simple on the surface. You turn 62 and the option to claim appears. But the impact of claiming early at full retirement or at age 70, the max amount that you can get, is far more meaningful during this specific window. Here's what often surprises retirees. Claiming at 62 reduces your lifetime benefit. Claiming at the full retirement age locks in your baseline benefit. But waiting to 70 may result in significantly higher benefit, but requires income from elsewhere. And this is where planning matters. Let's say you delay Social Security to 67, anywhere from 67 to 70. This may increase your long-term income, but you need a strategy to bridge the gap, whether that's withdrawals from savings, part-time income, or a combination. On the other hand, if your health, employment situation, or longevity expectations look different, claiming earlier might make sense and be the better decision. The key is understanding how Social Security fits into your overall income structure, not making the decision based on a rule of thumb or a gut feeling, which is even worse. During the age 65 window, your Social Security strategy becomes both clear and more consequential. Another piece to consider is Medicare and healthcare cost, the transition from one to the other. Healthcare is often one of the largest retirement expenses. That's when most of our healthcare dollars are spent in our latter years, and it changes significantly at 65. You see, before 65, before Medicare starts, you may rely on private insurance, COBRA, or even ACA coverage. Those costs can vary widely depending on your income. And here's the connection many don't expect. When you withdraw from an IRA or 401k to bridge income before Medicare, those withdrawals may raise your modified adjusted gross income, which can increase your ACA premiums dramatically. Then at 65, Medicare begins, and premiums become tied to income once again. Higher income means higher Medicare premiums through IRMA. This is where planning makes an enormous difference. With the right strategy, you can shape income during the years before and after 65 to help avoid unnecessary premium increases. However, without a plan, the costs can be surprising and affect the rest of how you spend your income and what you have to spend. Taxes in the 62 to 65 window is important. These years often create what's sometimes called the retirement income gap. You're no longer earning a paycheck, at least most of the time. You may not have started Social Security, and required minimum distributions have not begun yet. So this creates an unusually low income years for most people, which offer significant tax opportunities that we want to take advantage of. In this window, you may be able to do partial Roth conversions at lower tax rates. You can realize long-term capital gains more efficiently. You can also withdraw from traditional accounts before RMDs push income higher. And this is one period where you can rebalance your portfolio with minimal tax impact. These years are short, but their impact can last decades. A well-planned conversion or withdrawal strategy here can create positive impacts through your 70s and beyond, and may reduce the tax burden on your beneficiaries as well. This is why the 5-year window is so powerful. It's a time to be proactive rather than reactive. Next thing I want to mention is sequence of returns and why that matters. Most people assume that portfolio risk is something you manage at a high level. For instance, conservative bonds, balanced portfolios, growth-oriented investments, etc. But the sequence of returns risk changes the picture entirely. That is, the order in which market returns happen matters most at the exact moment you begin withdrawals. So if you retire at 65 and the market drops immediately, withdrawals during a downturn can permanently reduce long-term growth potential and can have the possibility of even changing the rest of your life as far as income is concerned. Now, you don't need to avoid market exposure entirely, but you do need structure. A thoughtful approach includes, number one, a short-term bucket for predictable spending. Number two, a mid-term bucket that balances growth and stability. You guessed it. Third, a long-term bucket that benefits from market cycles. This structure doesn't eliminate risk, but it does give you flexibility. You're not forced to sell during a downturn, and your long-term assets have time to recover. This is where planning helps protect the first decade of retirement, which is the decade most retirees feel the most vulnerable. We talked about this before, spending and spending planning. Every day is a Saturday when you're retired, so plan accordingly. Retirement planning often centers around investment performance and savings targets. But as you approach 65, the real question becomes, how do you turn your savings into a reliable, sustainable income plan? This is where many people begin feeling uncertainty, and for good reason, because spending feels personal, right? It changes month to month, and it's harder to predict sometimes than investment returns. The goal of a spending plan, however, is not restriction. It's clarity. What will your non-negotiable monthly needs cost? It's time to figure those up. What about how much flexibility you want for travel, family, other long-term goals and bucket list items you want to attain? What inflation rate should you plan around? And also, we want to consider, how does your income strategy support these needs year by year? They do change. When you understand these pieces, retirement becomes less about hope and more about structure. Structure reduces stress. This kind of clarity is what the 5-year window is designed to create. So when we look at this comprehensively, retirement, once again, is not one decision. It's a series of connected decisions. And the 5 years around 65 are where the connections matter the most. This is when you lock in your Social Security strategy. It's when you transition into Medicare. It's also when you decide how and when to draw income, and when you shape your long-term tax path. When we also build a withdrawal plan that supports both flexibility and sustainability, it can help create a structure that reduces surprises for the next 20 or 30 years. Getting these pieces right doesn't just save money, it gives you peace of mind. It gives you clarity, and it gives you confidence that your plan is built for the long run, not just for the first few years of retirement. Retirement is a long journey. At least we hope it is. And the most important decisions often happen right before you begin retirement. Now, as I said before, if you're approaching retirement and you want to make sure your plan supports not only your goals, but your income and all your situation, legacy planning, and so forth, you can book a time with me using the link below. And if you found this helpful, please feel free to subscribe for more retirement guidance, which I'll have in the near future. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.